rolling speed,
and
rolling speed.
jet action. So welcome to the Horseboarding UK podcast. This is a podcast about the sport of horseboarding, and it is beer tent breakdowns, or in this case, the Bruco Lorry beer breakdowns. If you've never heard about horseboarding, where have you been and what have you been doing with your life? Because it's an amazing sport and you would absolutely love it. But if you don't know, it's a sport consisting of one horse rider, and attached to the saddle is a rope, and at the end of that rope is an off-road skateboard with a guy or girl on top of that, and they go as fast as they can round a twisting, turning course on grass or sand. I am joined by founder and brainchild of the sport, Daniel Fowler-Prime. Eight-time national champion and absolute legend, Ross Towner. No one notable. No, Ryan Roberts, border for Blues and Twos. You haven't won a championship, but you've been around and you are the Jedi of horseboarding, as far as I'm concerned. And then Amy Richards of Team Richards, from the teams of Blues and Twos and Top and Tails. We are at round 2 of the National Horseboarding Championships here at East Anglia. Dan, tell us a bit about where we're sat currently.
Okay, so just a little bit of housekeeping, I guess. We are currently in a lorry supplied to us by Bruco Marketing, Bruco UK. It is a 10.5-ton Pathfinder with double expandable, and this is one side of it. So on this side, we've got a sponsorship wall for doing our interviews, which there's loads of now already. And on the opposite side, we've also got a bunch of workstations. So all our cameras and all our guys, our media guys, the social media guys as well, are all working on the other side of the cameras. There's currently, as we do this, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 other people as a part of the crew, because we need all that, we need all that attention, don't we? We have to have that many people around us just to make us feel special. So Bruco Marketing, talk about them briefly, do road shows, experiential marketing, and all in everything from small trailers, the 5-meter trailers that expand, up to 40-foot trucks that also expand and can be used for many, many different purposes, as this one is now. So, horseboarding. We've had day 1 of round 2 here at East Anglia, and it hasn't. It's lived up to the hype.
Yeah, there's been some great racing in the advanced as well as the elite. I think we saw sort of 2 teams coming out there that ended up racing each other, which I didn't sort of really see at the beginning with the was it the donkeys? Danger Donkeys.
Danger Donkeys.
Yes, Danger Donkeys.
The donkeys.
The donkey. And send it siblings. Send it siblings. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I really enjoyed that racing, and obviously you guys as well doing really well. Yeah, it's great fun out there. Then weather's held off for the show today. It's been nice.
Yeah,
it's made a massive difference.
So we spoke about it, I think, probably in some of the other interviews as well, but the arena, East Anglia, let's talk about the history of East Anglia a little bit. Everybody here has raced here
several times.
You've raced here, and you're a dinosaur in this sport.
I haven't raced on this course. I've raced at this event, but when it was at the old showground, I haven't raced on this course. What was your feeling when you saw you guys as competitors, and Tom as a competitor? How did you, when you saw the arena in its shape that it's now in?
It's awesomeness. It's definitely changed over the years. It's some of the features, you got rolling tundra of kind of landscape ahead of you. It's not a flat field. So you got anti-camber turns on certain corners, depending on if you're goofy or regular. That with all the loose sand underneath the soil, it can get really quite slippery out there. Always short grass. Yeah, this weekend we've got a mixture of a couple of patches like longer grass, but it's generally on the shorter side. But
it makes it like glass when it's slightly wet. It is just as a border. There's no grip. Like you're like
certain speeds coming into corners.
Yes.
You can handle it if you go around a more gradual corner.
I
But
saw you jumping those bits of earth that they laid down.
just lift off a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they seem fine as you go over them. No sinking at all.
Yeah, I didn't even bother. I was like, I'm gonna go through it. Like, I'm on the.
Did you feel it on the board as you went through
Not at all.
No.
Um,
Not like in previous years when it's
2022 when it would just turn into a sandbank.
Mm.
Yeah, it's not done that. But that year it was like 24 degrees for the entire weekend, with 6 elite teams racing and a couple more advanced teams. Whereas this year there's 4 elite teams racing. There's only really 2 pushing that top end. Everyone else isn't really doing those top speeds. But the course is widened as
It's
well.
not the same East Anglia as what we're used to racing.
Yeah.
And do you think that they've opened it up? So they said, the first thing they said to me when I arrived, I went to the site office and they were like, the course is longer and wider. And my initial thought was, oh dear, like that's not great. But has it been opened? The fact that it's a bit wider, has that reduced the amount of pressure that's been put on the course?
I think so. Like,
Yeah.
definitely no. Especially the first corner. We did course A today, and that first corner coming round and actually going on to the diagonal across the arena.
Yeah.
I was riding the outside line. It's
Yeah.
sketchy as hell, but like, there's no issue because the ball, that whole corner is really nice. It's really smooth. So you sat there going, oh, usually when we hit the diagonal corner, you have to, like, as a boarder, take a different corner to like go deeper into the turn. Whereas this one, you just ride it.
There is
all around.
as you're coming downhill off that corner down to the end of the course. There's a little divot, a lump.
Is that where you came up? Yeah.
No, that was after. That was the end of that corner.
No, you were trying to jibe me on to try and jump it. Like, I was like, no, I am not you. This is not what I'm going to do.
So just typical
Ryan,
siblings.
in the pits, he's always walking around, sort of,
there's a
whispering
lump
in
there.
people's ears.
You should do that. You should do that. Your backflip.
Just be aware not to talk over each other, let each other finish. So that's that sweeping turn down the hill, because now, of course, that arena's opened up. There was always that lump in the ring, but because it's now 15 meters further up, basically, it's a full-on hill, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
In between the dirt piles that were covering up the holes that the guys put down this morning, there's a little skinny patch of grass. That's what I was aiming for. Every time we hit through that bit, aiming for that bit of grass, and then it put me on a nice line round. But on the same side, hitting that same hill when we were crossing from the 90, coming across from the strange 90, and then coming across the track to come round for the weave. You're then going up the hill to come back down the hill to come round for the weave. So an extra speed for the downhill weave as well.
It's forward, yeah. And that got you into a little bit of a mess. You were saying
morning, first run, I just went into it too fast, thinking that I could get through there, and just wasn't anticipating that coming across for the 90, then back round and down the hill, getting lots of whip out, being on the other side of Sally, and then coming back across, and it was too fast, too much.
And then you ended up making quite a solid contact.
I touched her foot.
Yeah, I mean, it's I hadn't thought of it from that angle. I thought of it, I hadn't even considered it coming from the 90, which isn't a 90, up the hill and then back down and around. It's like something out of it's almost the best way to describe it if you've not seen it, and you do watch it, but it reminds me of like a kiddie's fairground ride. You got like a train that goes up over a lump.
Well, it felt like it went coming round from that 90 hard on my toe edge, so I'm regular, big right hand corner on my toe edge, and then having to switch over back onto your heel edge to come up that hill, because you're then going uphill. You get this anti-canvas, so you're being like sucked out. Every time I felt my kind of heels like lift a little bit, so going on from my toes onto my heels, I feel my heels literally stomp them down and carry on around the corner.
Wow. Because I didn't even notice that. Like
every time I hit across there,
really, because I didn't even notice the uphill bit on there. Because I was more worried because I was putting myself, because you're right, I was aiming at that middle bit of grass on the opening corner. on like the dead center of the track.
I didn't do it on the weave.
But the weave bit, I'm aiming directly onto the sand.
Yeah.
And every time I'm thinking, is this the time where the sand gives out?
Mm.
Like, is this where it goes? No. And you're
Think
stuck.
of that, yeah.
So, Amy, you, I know we spoke a little bit about this. I'm just kind of recapping from the interview a little bit. How did you find it with the two horses? And
Well, when I rode it, like I said earlier, when I rode it in the practice yesterday, I'm thinking, oh God, I don't know how this is going to hold up with a bit more speed, so we don't go as fast in the practice as when we're competing. But actually, it's been pretty smooth. It's actually ridden really well, and both horses. I think I had a couple of slips, but only because it was just down the bottom and coming into the weave. But it felt pretty secure on foot. It's a bit
and
moving down.
Right.
how would you compare the two horses? So you've got Indy, that's a 14-2 ex-showing pony, and you've got your ex-racehorse. Two completely different horses. How would you compare how the two horses take the course different?
Indy always takes the inside line, whether I wanted to or not. She thinks she knows the course better, but she,
Than you.
yeah, of course, she's in there. But she felt more secure than what Sally does generally because she's more sure-footed. But
Right.
I think Sally's long stride 80 almost it felt a lot shorter. But to be honest, Sally felt quite good
Yeah.
as well. To be honest, didn't really feel any problems for me.
Right.
Well, I noticed that the camber of Indy's turns when you head-butted a ball off a post.
Yeah,
Yeah. I was behind you and you went, dunk.
Amazing. I mean, it's one of those things. Actually, one of the things that I noticed with Just Wing It coming out of the chicane, they had one particular turn where it was really good. They didn't get the line wrong by any means, but as they came round, you can see Annette is getting to that point where you duck underneath, duck the shoulder, to stay underneath the pole, which is crazy. Those poles are only 5 foot. Like you're on a horse and you're ducking the pole. It's pretty insane. But so she did that, and of course she's on a big horse as well. And they went around that corner, and to me, the board Sandy just seemed a little bit out of shape, but the horse just kind of knew where Sandy was, kind of set himself, and then gave him the power that's just lifted him up perfectly. It was really, really good. I've kind of lost my track. What I was going to say at that point.
What I was going to say? What do we?
Oh no, sorry.
Oh, you do know. I won't say anything.
Second,
One second. Don't worry about it then.
So you know the iconic photo, and it is an iconic photo because it's something that happened in the arena last year when the first time Dan was with us, Super Dan, and it's a photo of you levitating above the saddle. Yeah, we now have a photo of you levitating above
Sally.
Is it that you did say that I was speaking to me? Yeah. It's got a video. It's on the Sally on the weave. One of the slower ones as well, wasn't it? Sally got through the first part and went to go through the middle one, but obviously she felt like she couldn't quite get over enough. So she kind of twisted herself around it. I thought we'd missed it. I don't think we've got a touch. I thought it was
have you got that photo, Dan? Super Dan?
Yeah, possibly.
Okay. So once we get there, we'll show you that photo. We'll put it up on the screen.
We are going to need
Everyone
a
else.
TV here for the next one. They're going to have Dan can be Jamie.
We'll show you the photo. We'll put it up on the screen for everyone else to see. Our 6 listeners.
Thinking about editing this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we live? Is this live?
No, it's not
No.
live. We're going to edit. We have the ability to now
Say
edit.
what you want.
No, don't say what you want.
But it is.
I'm just going to do that for you.
It's slightly relaxed. But it's interesting that we had another photo of you levitating. What's crazy, what I find so bizarre, is that as you have so many people watching you go through the weave, and nobody sees you do it. It's only when we've got a camera going off like
Even I don't say.
it's only when you've got when several cameras going off like machine guns They were absolutely like, oh look, she did pop out of the saddle, and it's like it's such a crazy thing because you it's not like you're bouncing around like a bad rider. Do you know what I mean?
It's just that split millisecond. It's ridiculous.
I'm sure it's no flicking your heels.
Dan was saying there's you were talking about your extric riding days and using technique where you put your legs up and kind of bounce off the saddle pad to get into a stand on top of the saddle, and he thinks it's the way that you're flicking your legs around
Get
the weave that it's just popping you, it's literally popping your foot out of the saddle.
Well, with Indy, when I do the weave, she's so light. Obviously, I do flick my feet out the side, outside and cone, but on Sally, that's the only reason that she did it. Sometimes I have lifted my leg off round the.
Well, you can see in the picture that the leg that's closest to the camera is out. So I mean, and for those people at home, what that means is that with both horses, one being quite smaller than the other, Amy is riding the weave so tight that rather than getting her leg on the right side of the cone, she's putting her leg on the outside of the cone, so the cone passes between her leg and the horse. That's which, when you think about it like that, that is some pretty spectacular and accurate riding.
I mean, you do take the, like, I know I'm boarding behind you, but it was a downhill. And we went through that with that weave. Yes, you did speed up to it. I was like, what is going on? As we're going to it.
You want that trophy?
Well, I do want that trophy. But we finished the weekend neck and neck.
Yeah,
The
First day neck and neck.
Which is exactly what happened the last time Top and Tails won it, if you remember.
It was.
And so they came into day 2 on a complete draw. So I'm very interested to see if you need a refill. We'll get one of the assistants to top you up.
in our nondescript beer broadcast now, because we're filming it, and we don't have any beer sponsors. So beer sponsors out there, if you do like horseboarding, your logo could be here.
Yeah, don't worry about the governing bodies because we're not recognised by any. So it's fine. We are the governing bodies.
You're gonna bring it over to show us. Yeah.
Oh,
so we've got the photo. We'll edit this out and we'll put an actual.
So we're seeing it on the camera. That's the photo on the camera.
Oh, we might not. We might just leave it as it is.
Jesus.
That's you. Yeah.
Hang on. Coming out of the weave, is that?
That's coming
Going
in. That's
next to
coming
the
out. Yeah.
That's the middle cone.
Yeah.
That's the middle cone of the weave.
Wow.
You're just like that putting them out.
Thank you very much, Sukudan. Earning your badge.
Yeah, you're on the left, on the right.
So how did we feel? So let's talk about the rest of the field.
I was thinking maybe about the advanced teams.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Okay, you carry on. As far I'll stop talking then.
Oh, he's here. Seeing them like flying out there. Josh was
This
riding
afternoon.
hard this morning.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
And he adapted his riding, I think, this afternoon more.
Yeah.
It was just coming out of the chicane around probably. I think they wanted to put the speed on, which they have got, even though she's a small pony. But I think I did speak to him a little bit, and I said just do that a little bit slower, because you have got the speed. The pony's fit enough to put on a bit of power after you got through the chicane, and then just get through the chicane neat.
Yeah. Would they? So Josh was saying that Fenella, the way she was powering out, was penduluming him.
Too much. Yeah.
It was, but then I saw some of the breakdowns of Superdan's photos. Josh has put himself and this comes from experience. Like
Practice.
he's not taking a chicane that is that tight.
Nobody has. We've never had a chicane like that. Like in all the years, we've never had a chicane that means you have to cut back out of, then take another turn to the left, and then turn back into the right.
That's not what was getting him. It was just that tightness into the chicane anyway that was
into the chicane.
Oh no, coming out. Sorry. So as you exit, and it's always been that tight here. And last year we saw it in the wet. It took out so many boarders because you just couldn't get down quick enough to get out without it swinging you out. Now Josh is going into that heel side. And what I saw from the photos is that he's on the wrong line. Now, in tame, he'd have been on the right line because it is the way it's set. At tame, it was further out.
Yeah.
So he's on the right line. But on this one, because it's so tight, he needed to be further into the gate and not dropped as soon as he did.
You mean he was riding too close to the pole? He'd been almost a little bit left behind the pole. He needed to get from, and that's actually something. My theory for always exiting the chicane when I was racing. So I'm not talking about what anybody else does now, but I was always thinking that you go wide into the first gate. So you carry that speed, rub the speed off so that you've got now a straight line across it. You go through the first gate, the second gate, but then the third gate, you need to draw over so you're kind of more in the middle of it. So then when you then cut hard.
That's harder to do on a tight chicane because there's less kind of strides for the horse to enter itself.
Nick from All the Gear did a good save.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how he made that and then got back round to go back round the 90.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
he did.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he did. It was a really good.
It come like past where the posts were, and then I have to bring himself all the way back in, and then brushed his shoulder around the post, but didn't touch it.
Wow.
Worth watching on the video.
Yeah, and then getting out.
Camera shit.
We had loads of cameras on there. I mean, it's been again loads of filming done, so that's really good.
I have to talk about
Just drag as well. They were flying out there for their last season. I don't think I've ever seen them go so far.
They were.
Yeah,
They were like they're more elite team now. But I'm going to keep it in the advance.
We'll keep it
right now. I'm going to talk about danger donkeys.
Danger donkeys.
Jack Baben.
Sorry, it was amazing. It was an amazing moment he had.
And that's a good fall.
Yeah,
we rewatched it, and it's a good crash.
He tried to save it,
so,
and it went wrong.
Right, he told me. So he spoke to me. He was like, "Oh, it's such a rookie mistake," and I was like, "What? Hang on, right? You were toe edge coming round on a heel side turn, right? He got lifted onto his toes as he comes onto the diagonal." 99% of people that were advanced level would have fallen there. He had the balls to go, I'm going to jump this board and try and put my heels back down on the floor. Then it obviously went cataclysmic and he crashed.
He got up on his toes, and so he rode that out, so he finished the corner. I think from that, the knock-on effect of kind of getting out of shape happens. So that's when he tried to save it, just coming onto the diagonal. And that's when he jumped ages, meters, doing, and then saved it for again another second, and then bang.
But then he went airborne and kind of twisted in the air around the line of the handle. So he kind of almost in the video he kind of does a somersault around the end of the handle.
It's spectacular.
But he was saying, "Oh, it's so bad," and I'm like, "No, it takes real guts and real confidence in your boarding skill to do that. And even when you do that, I reckon that maneuver for us mere mortals, maybe not you, Ryan, is probably 70-30% chance that you're gonna crash."
Yeah. I don't.
When you come around a corner and it's a heel side turn and you get onto your toes.
That's what happened to me when I crashed this morning.
Yeah.
On our last lap. On the last corner, and I let go, and I opted out of it before it got really. If you go over on your toes and you get pinged whilst you're still holding that rope, you're getting launched. So I opted out for early. I went onto my toes and I let go of the rope and dismount this board.
That's it. I'm out. I'm on my toes. I'm out.
You're pulling the escape release at that point.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever got away with it was actually this course.
Yes.
2022.
That was scary.
And it picked me up, and I didn't. But I've tried to do it before, and it's the last time I've tried the maneuver. But instead of trying to jump, all I did was flick my toe. Like I thrust my hips and flicked my toes, and it just put the wheels down.
Yeah.
But it just popped them out and just put the back wheels down, and then just put me into all kinds
The
of
different
worry,
madness, yeah.
and then I got away with it.
I remember that I literally you went. I remember you were racing really fast, and it was that everybody was being obliterated. It was when the ground was really all broken up in the soft sand.
Well, I rode the outside line as far wide as I could go.
But you went up onto your toes, and I thought, oh, like my heart was in my mouth. Like this is gonna be. He's gonna be buried. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's just gonna be. He's gonna be his face just impaled into the ground. It's there'll be a big track. And I literally thought this is gonna be really bad crash. Like for that moment, and then he pulled it down. I was like, wow, that was some serious work.
I don't know, from the video from last season, the crash video. I got one where I went up on my toes and I went up on the flats of the toe edge wheel. This is Alresford where the ball went thing,
And
I travelled for probably the distance from here to there on the flats of the wheels before the top of the wheels edge caught. Not just I've never been in that situation before.
And that was a shame, because that one, when I was doing the best crash video, because I think, to be honest, you may have been. I've been watching like the best crash video from the last 2 years, and I think you might have been a little bit cheated there, Ryan. I'm going to be honest.
That's fine. I don't want to.
I'm going to be honest, because like Sandy's win 2 years ago for the best crash, you had that unbelievable crash at Tane. Similar to the crash you've done this year. Yeah, you're like, let's try that one again. Let's put that one in let's get that one signed off.
That's my thing.
The only reason there were crash barriers there is because I went, that is where Ryan fell last year. It's now a commentary box.
So that one really, and that's why it was in that video of that from that year. It was, you got Sandy falling off all over the place, and then you got that massive crash from you, and then you got this weird Sandy getting down on the floor and getting back up again and then falling off, which was just crazy because we'd never seen it before. And then this year, when we were making up the crash video, I didn't have Alresford. So I didn't have the footage of that crash, but then I've since then seen that crash and gone,
but also,
that's quite a good crash.
What Ryan did is that there isn't currently a best save of the year video.
Yeah.
Trophy. And last year you did the single best save
ever
that we've ever seen.
I go down and I usually don't get up.
I very nearly released you on that. Ready? Is it gone? But you're not used to it.
Then she got up to do 26. I think the speedo raiders we got up and went into the last.
Oh, what was crazy about that is that you not only did you save it, but as soon as you're back on the wheels, you're like, everyone else is like, holy shit! Literally, and you're like, go! I'm like, what?
Not that much time. Yeah.
Amy, from a horse rider's point of view, because you see some particular, I guess, with teams that haven't got quite the same of experience, the board rider falls off and then there's a delay. I end up shouting release over the microphone and then they release, and then you see some horse riders are aware before the board rider's fallen. What's your sort of experience?
I know there's certain areas where it will become a struggle for a boarder. Like I know, like obviously in certain turns, like a 90 but I'm always aware of where, and I can feel usually where the horse is pulling them a little bit more.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, something's not quite normal. And when they're going around some corners, I will look wherever they are and I'll note, and I know if they're in the normal spot when they're going around that corner, and if they're not, we'll try and figure out how they're going. But there's certain points when you do it that often, and the more you do it, the more you'll notice it, and that the horse obviously gets used to it as well, because they will then help you out as well.
So one of the things there was, you mentioned about turning around and looking at the board rider, something that Fenella does as well a lot, from the advance. But so today, there was a picture that was shared on social media this last week, and where you'd got a touch on the ball and you're turning around looking at the ball that's on the floor, and then
It was this
Yeah.
far off the floor thanks to the awesome photography. It hadn't touched the floor. And it didn't count as a penalty.
at that point.
Half a second later.
But today, I don't know which team it was with. You came off the weave on to do that final lap, and you would twist your head. You look like something out of
Exorcist.
Exorcist. Your head was all the way around looking at the board rider while still riding the horse in the correct direction forward. Do you know what I mean? Like, just okay, what do I need to do? And at that point, you're also giving the horse direction.
I think the horse does when the horse knows what it's doing, it just generally makes it easier to ride it.
Let's talk about that for a little bit, because I have seen a couple of times where a board rider will get into a position. I mentioned it earlier on already, but where the board rider gets into a position and then the horse knows what to do. And yeah, and you get that because for me, from a horse training point of view, if a certain thing happens enough times and you're giving a horse a certain cue, so the boarder reacts something happens to the board rider, he's out of shape, he's in the wrong angle, he's in the wrong place, blah blah blah. And then you tell when you're first training the horse, and from a long time, these are very good horses that get to this level, where you're telling the horse, okay, the board rider's here, I need you to do this now to save the board rider. And then you do that enough, and then the horse no longer needs to be told. It just does it. The first time I saw that with Ross with Naboo in I can't remember the event.
Sandringham, I think. As
Yeah.
you came around the corner, you were sat down.
You sat down. Charlie went to give the cue to pick you up, and then Naboo went boom before Charlie had the chance to actually do it. That was the first time I ever saw it.
Yeah, he would listen to, even when I would shout, or sort of boarding at the back, he would shout and he would go before Charlie would. So she'd sort of trust that and wouldn't have to tell him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how he.
And again, that from a horse point of view, so really talking about sorry, that beer went down the hole. Really talking about from a horse point of view. So if you think about drivers you sit in the carriage when you're driving the horse in front of you. Obviously, you've got a contact with the reins, and potentially you've got a whip. But a lot of the communication actually is done vocally. So what you're kind of doing is the board rider is almost becoming the driver, like behind the horse rider, so the horse can learn just to listen to the same communication. So I'm going to ask all three of you as board riders the same question. Tom, how would you describe the communication between you and your rider?
Amy will tell you this, I don't talk.
No.
I'm quiet. Yeah, because it's for me, I think one, because we've started all this and we're there from day one, is that I'm like, look, I will do my very best to stay on. You just do your job, and go as fast as you can around this course, unless I've had a conversation beforehand,
Right.
and said, look, we need to slow down here because I'm struggling. But I also wear a full face helmet with a visor, so they can't hear me anymore.
It's amazing you can breathe in that thing. I've got to be honest. I wore that helmet once at a show. Just I was like,
yeah, your face is a lot fatter.
not at the time.
Your face literally pushes it.
I was racing fit. I was racing fit.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and he's still wearing the same old helmet. I think the scrutineers need to see that helmet tomorrow because he's probably knackered.
That helmet is designed for a 50-mile-an-hour crash off a longboard onto concrete. I think it's all right on grass.
Just
Okay.
one.
So, Ross, how would you describe?
I could do 5-10 mile an hour crashes.
And you do regularly.
Yeah.
I've not hit my head, touch wood, yet.
Yeah. Okay. Ross, how would you describe your communication with your rider?
Well, you should hopefully get to a point where you just can have a bit of a word in the pits. I think use the pits time to, because I have a full face as well, so it's not, you can't really communicate during the racing too much. But going back to what,
So there's no communication during the race from you to the horse or the
well, it
rider.
depends also what horse she's riding as well, because Charlie can, with Winston, it was very much where she leant, he knew, so there was not much vocal stuff apart from like come on, do you know what I mean, a bit more.
And also as well, actually, just backing that up, Charlie would be like, "Come on, Winst, come on, Winst," and she's just really kind of like, "Come on, Winst, let's go," and then you're like tearing the arena apart. And she's going, "Come on, Winst, there we go."
Yeah, all the boarders that end up racing behind Wins as well will end up doing the same thing. Go, come on, Wins! It's fully grown men.
I don't call for Sally like. I call for Winston like.
They used to do it. So,
Yeah, I would say, Amy, come on, Amy.
Your voice gets high and pitched the faster you want us to go. Go.
Well, it didn't
Yeah,
prove my point at all, but thanks very much.
My general consensus is much the same thing. I'd go out, try and go do as fast as you can. Amy needs to be worrying about her job, and you're on the back. You'll always call it if you are feeling like you're kind of getting a bit out of shape, just to let her know. Because otherwise, you carry on, and that could have helped you out. And well, minimal conversations, but
Well, that was kind of my thing. So that was kind of what I was trying to say, is that you have a kind of a comment which is go faster, a comment which is slow down, a comment which is steady.
Yeah.
Generally, is like three sort of sounds or statements.
I did in 2022 when I was racing behind Lloyd, but whichever one I used, it didn't work. So, like, if I was like slow, he'd be like, "You said go, right?" And I was like,
This
"No,
is why you
mate."
have to have a language. I mean,
after you get a feel for the course,
he didn't
for that
listen.
day,
Yeah.
and then you can just talk about it. So I'm fine on, say, come around or out to a chicane, exit the chicanes a bit tight, so pull up there maybe, then all the way good, all the way around the rest of the course. Just there's 1 point.
I think we doing the speeds we're doing, that's a thing. But like the advanced teams, they are having more communication. And when we were going slower, if you remember that time, we were because you've just been flat out since the day you got here.
I had to build up.
it was the
Had to
first team we
graduate,
raced
and
with.
that's- yeah. 2
Russian roulette.
and consider it done on the first second.
Consider it done. You raced with consider it
One
done.
with one with Russian roulette or Predator, as they were like that,
Yeah.
and lost with lost with consider it done.
Wow.
But they were 2 completely different.
Yeah.
rides completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially in the Hampshire grass, and that was the worst grass that has ever been.
I ended up going to the Aiden ended up like doing a scorpion spine tap on himself.
Aiden was the first. Aiden has the I don't know, the title as being the first person that we brought an ambulance into the room. He was,
I went to hospital with him,
and he was fine.
Yeah.
As I say, he was fine.
I heard something.
Yeah, I heard something crack and my neck hurts, and I was like, "You're not walking out of the ring. We'll get the ambulance."
But General Aiden, he was fine.
But since then, there's been loads of others.
Aiden broke himself here quite well.
You did.
Aiden and Lloyd, you can't ever forget that.
On the same course with the
But in paramedics, I was there that day. They gave him the oxygen.
yeah.
I went over to say hello to the paramedics, and I was like, "Hi guys, just to let you know, we're on at 11 and 2. So I think, like, if you wouldn't mind coming down, like, yeah, we're gonna stand over here and blah blah. And I was like, this girl seems really familiar. I was like, yeah, I think I've seen her in the video.
They turned up as I was coming out the commentary box after setting up. And I was like, all right, guys, now, yeah, we're here to watch. Like, they had their little seats so they could sit down and actually watch the racing from the pit.
That's it. Every event that we go to, we always, make friends with the paramedics. We're gonna need them. But they love it. I've never known of. I'm sure they're out there, but I've never. All the Prime is like, this is great because we might actually do something here more than a bee sting. More than a bee sting, we could be looking at a serious injury. So anyway, that's the horses. So we talked about the advanced.
Can I get
pretty
a
much.
nondescript beer refill, please, Dale? our referee?
Assistant.
Beer assistant.
There's some down there.
Yeah, in that corner. Nondescript beer refill.
I have some non-script beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Another cup.
There's another nondescript beer refill cup there.
Say non-script.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're not telling
Black
because
label.
Because
we are
Yeah.
we are after beer sponsors.
because we like it a lot,
Yeah.
and
This is called Beer Breakdown. So
Yeah.
any beer companies out there that would like to sponsor Horseboarding UK,
we could review the beer
Great.
whilst we talk about horseboarding.
yeah,
That would be amazing, wouldn't it? A horseboarding beer review.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
And we just changed the podcast from just sit here, talk about horseboarding, get drunk, and
I thought it was quite nice last night after we turned the podcast off that we all started talking politics. That's another one. I think we need that. And also as well, I have to say, while Dale's here, we've got Dale's done. We need to do a not a 1-to-1, but I think we need to get all the ex-forces guys that are involved with the organization to do a podcast because listening to them talk is mind blowing. When you've got people that have flown jets, been in submarines, and blown stuff up, it's kind of an interesting podcast.
I mean, submarine. Submarine.
Orion.
that would be
Orion was
having
8
a
years as an engineer submarine.
I got the info there.
We can say Orin was a nuclear submarine engineer. Obviously, he will never tell us where he's been, what he's done, because that's super classified.
It's quite young though, isn't it?
but
Yeah, fair play to him.
But he's told us some gnarly stories. We can't talk about them, but he's really good.
They did not breach any security.
That's another podcast. That's another
stories that didn't happen.
Origins.
I was born in Scotland and I was made in the Navy. That kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyways, we're just getting refilling up. Just as long as it is.
You're not going to get a job in a pub now.
It is it like
the bucket list.
You know, it's a big head on it. It's a close way. That wasn't a
They
joke.
never-
Just saying.
they never teach that in the
Navy.
US Army, Air Force, Navy.
Tom cannot get that right. I don't know what the ale is, the local ale, but it's pretty good. It had a night on it, and it was it was pretty good.
But I don't actually remember what the lager was that I bought originally
Cheers,
in
man.
this, but it was actually quite nice from the bar, which didn't have a name on it, or else I'd mention who they are.
Yeah, it's a double-decker bus that's got bar written on it.
Yeah,
that's all we need
the
to know.
bar. There we go.
So, I think, have we talked enough about the day? Is there anything other points anybody wants to talk about for today?
So Ryan was bringing up. We kind of went on to a bit of elite stuff, but Ryan brought up Just Drag and their elite kind of journey so far,
Yeah.
because obviously they've come in. We know that Blues and Twos and
Well, one of the
kind of
first-
dominated
Yeah.
slightly, but
Yeah.
those guys today
It's
actually really put some time down.
Well, I think, like, it's Just Drag are, they won the advanced championship last year.
Yep.
They developed. They've gone into the elite. It's a big leap. I kind of feel bad for them in one respect because they've gone into the elite with Amy. You're on the top of the game. It disappoints me that there isn't an international championship, there isn't a world championship, there isn't an Olympics, there isn't anything like that we could be like, that's where we're going, and we're going to beat everybody because, like, you and Sally and Ryan, it's such a great combination. It's so good. And as we spoke briefly last night, imagine the championship that involved Blues and Twos, limited edition, Chill Winston, Dead Pigeon. Like, imagine
Border
that.
Force.
Yeah, that UK Border Force as well. Like, all those teams that have done really well in the past. To have a championship like that would be
Insane.
unbelievable. It would
And they're showing up.
every race would be phenomenal. So and what Just Drag really needed to keep in mind is that, you know, they've just come up into this group of people who are all international squad. You've all raced internationally. You haven't
I
raced
haven't.
raced internationally, but you've been
You've been there.
You've been there. And with nobody other than really the best of the best that there's been at this moment. Like, you know, so there's obviously a lot of pressure on them because they kind of, it's like moving up to high school, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? You're the top of that crew, but now you're into this crew. And
All them easy red rosettes.
yeah, exactly.
Not so
The way
easy anymore.
you know, and is so I thought they seemed. It's all about, I think. We haven't really seen Sean. I don't think we haven't really seen Sean really tested. I know he's lost it a couple of times today, but like with Rolo and Emily, it's all about. For me, when Emily lets Rolo go, is Rolo gonna come back?
I think I think she has been working on him, and I know she has definitely. I know they've been practicing when they can, but when you see the moments where she has got, well, like today, when she's let him go and he's listened, and Sean's been able to hang on, even if it hasn't quite listened, even for the week when messed up, they still sorted themselves out.
Yeah,
Yeah, they haven't got everything right. And the moment they a part of their issue today is that time when they went through the weave, they destroyed the weave. But the moment when they had it right and they were coming into that weave, and I was watching them coming in, and I was going, all that actually needs to happen is Emily needs to get Rolo through, and that's it. And as they dropped off the hill, they had a technical failure, and their harness equipment gave up because the harness was too tight.
yeah,
So
the leash was too tight.
He popped up in their saddle, and that's what ended it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a real shame. So they're learning as a team. Like, these are the things that will happen now to you when you started to race at this level. That, you know,
But if there was 10 teams in the elite, like we've seen in the years gone by, where you've got like 8, 9, 10 teams in the elite, there's more of a kind of like, okay, I'm getting in, I'm fighting, I want to catch the 9th team or the 8th team or the 7th team. But instead you're coming in there and you're like, oh, I'm racing against Amy and she just won in Prague. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a bit of a leap. It's, you know, but I do
You're
think
doing it the right way. They're
absolutely.
acted it because, like I did with Sally, we progressed over a season and a half, and look, now she's really good. But Rolo, they have got it in them as a team this season. Next season they'll be formidable.
And that's what they need to do. They need to not get drawn into it, really, isn't it? Not get drawn into the race and just deal with their own race.
Race against yourself.
Yeah.
Try and better yourself. And then when you're ready to race against other people.
Yeah.
And then bring the fight.
Well, it happens naturally, doesn't it? If you race against yourself and don't worry about anybody else, then eventually you're like, oh, hold on a minute, we're half a second.
Yeah.
Just press free.
Or on the split. You know, that's what the split's there for. They can be maybe a couple of seconds off of our times coming up to the split.
Yeah.
And that might be enough to...
There was a moment today. So so obviously I'm looking at as an organizer here, and with the rules being the way they are for advancing teams out of the advanced into the elite, I'm looking at that class going, okay, because you look at Danger Donkeys, potentially happy little accidents, but certainly Danger Donkeys. I think Danger Donkeys are an elite team. They just got to get their experience. Yeah.
Hey, send the Ziplings our way.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my point.
That would be a good race. Well, the bottom end of the elite.
Yeah.
I think part of the issue.
Yeah.
But then as an organisation, then so I'm going to come back onto like a Horseboarding UK thing here. As an organisation, like when Jack was racing and he was 15,
16.
he was 16,
And he got
he
promoted.
was a big lad. He's a rugby player. He then went and joined the army. He's come back. He's a bigger lad because he's been carrying a GPMG for the last however many years. But his mum wrote him a letter saying to Horseboarding UK, we'd like to ask for special dispensation. That's fine. Her mum's carrying him around.
Are you thinking that
How do you now, like, my question is, how do you now take a 14, 15-year-old rider and say that as an organisation, we're happy with them doing...
Quite easily. I think I don't think there's a problem at all. I don't think there's a problem at all. I would say Fenella. Yeah. Fenella and the horse are both running really, really well. The
I don't
positive
think Josh is ready.
the positive limiting factor for that team is Josh's experience, which is developing. You saw him this morning, the first 2 runs, he was really struggling with grip. It was all over the place. He lost it on the same corner twice. This afternoon, the track had dried up a bit. It got a bit more grip, and he was now in his zone, and they just devastated that ring. And so my whole point was that I've been looking at the other 2 teams, particularly Danger Donkeys, thinking, okay, they're probably going to end up in the elite before the end of the season. That's my sort of thinking. That they'll get to a point where they'll come into the elite. We'll be like, okay, you're ready. You're in the elite.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about Send It siblings. I was like, okay, they're going to be doing their thing and, whatever. Because I just didn't really feel about that they were really ready. But this afternoon, they did that run, like you say, 2 miles an hour slower than what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
They did a time, I think they were 5 seconds off at the split. But you kind of like, they looked really solid. The board rider wasn't out of shape. The horse, that horse is a quick
5 seconds
pony.
off the split to what we were doing. That's exactly where Just Drag were. And Just Wing It Just Wing It put their
Before they put their fast run,
at the very end, which is taking them all.
So they
day.
kind of, I mean, that run to me I was like, oh, maybe it's going to be Send It siblings moving into the elite. And I'm still waiting to see Mac 1, their next team. They've got a horse called Mac. So we're waiting to see them develop. So I forgot my point, but like I think they're developing well.
It'd
really
be nice
well.
to see them come in because Just Drag are on that development stage, and Rolo was his first season last year as a horse, so he's in his second,
and the first season that Emily and Rolo worked together.
First season as advanced, so not having to push it. Now this is their first season as elite, and like you brought Sally in, and you did a whole season of this is my elite team, and I'm just going to take it steady, like and slowly build that.
If you want it to go well in the long run, you need to use that first season, even another half to.
Very frustrating, but it's worth it in the long run. Yeah.
Because you had the experience with Emma.
Granger.
Yeah. I was getting split up with it. Mixed up with Emily Gray, Emma Granger, and her horse with the Black Dakotas was the team, and that horse took to it really well. Started off really well, and you guys started racing quite early on, and then it just blew the horse's mind.
Too much, right?
Yeah. Whereas if you'd have taken a steadier approach, then maybe that one might have worked.
Hopefully you think so, but you do never know.
You do never know. No, you do never know. I'm not trying to put pressure on you. I'm just saying, this is something that's but you've had that experience, where you've had a horse that raced really well, and then it couldn't race anymore, and then you've had the experience now where you've been through that frustrating experience of like, okay, we got to wait. Like, we got to make sure the horse is ready. When is the horse ready? I want to race. But you've got to put that time in to get to that level, because now you guys, I mean, it's
also pre-race gate days. So this is the second,
and that's another big factor.
This is the second year of the pre-race gates. Indy hooked up in the pits today.
She don't.
Yeah.
She
Like-
likes this event. She'll hook up in the pits fine at this event.
Oh, is
I
it this
don't.
event?
I think it's just pits. I think she likes the pits.
Because there's no audience, there's no one else
Yeah,
around it.
there's
and
no
she's
But
like,
it also might be that this event has always had that system.
Exactly.
As much
Yeah.
as it didn't have the actual gates,
So-
from when we very early did the East Anglia events, when they used to have the really small arenas.
yeah, it's a bit funny.
Yeah, it used to be tiny, and but we'd still come in and do a little circle before we hit the start line, and so she's only ever experienced that here, whereas at the other shows she has experienced the other stuff,
but
and
you
she
can't
can
go
remember
straight
that
up
shit.
the pits. Yeah. No.
So now let's have a chat about Just Wing It.
Ooh, interesting.
Had to talk about
I,
it.
No,
I thought so today. I'll jump straight on this. I thought that so they struggled a bit this morning. And this Harry wanted to go and Net and I had a
Yeah.
talk with Annette in the pits, and she was worried about letting him go. She was like, "If I let him go, I don't know if I'll bring him back. He wants to run
All right.
so much." That I'm worried about bringing him back. And Sandy, I also had a word with Sandy. I was like, "What? Why aren't you going? Like, what's happening here?" He was like, "We're worried about this course's record for ruining borders and
Ending seasons.
ending seasons.
Yeah.
And two, she doesn't know she's going to bring him back. So those two things."
Which is crazy.
Oh,
I'd love to
worried.
ride. I'm going to put this out. I would like to ride that horse. Like, I never say that, but like,
He's sort of a small commentary.
yeah, yeah. I don't think I want to take
But
him into a
in the
heat,
commentary
but have a
box-
little ride round
But
might be
in the
quite nice.
commentary box tomorrow, Dan, we can do that within the rules. You can be a substitute rider.
No, I'm not suggesting I should compete him. I'm not suggesting I should compete him. I'm suggesting I would like to ride him because every time I see that horse, I said it in the commentary today, I like it more. He is, to me, looks like such an honest pony. The fact that he turned up yesterday on Friday and they put electric pen out around him and he's just chilling out. And I kind of looked down and I was like, oh, he's literally the only horse here. And he's kind of like, oh, he's just looking around.
When the
not-
others getting it.
yeah, like just chilling out. And
Didn't
I-
even throw me back to the next team's there. And
he's so cool. He's like, he turned up, like his whole career from so when we've seen him horseboarding has just been exemplary. He went to Prague, like after only doing a few events and then having quite a big fall. I know Annette says she's been worried about that. But again, I think we discussed it before where, well, there was a shoe that was missing. He only had 3 shoes. There was a fall. It was unfortunate that the stud cut him in the way that it did, but it healed up nicely and he's not bothered. It's not like he's looking at the board going, "Don't touch me."
No.
He's like, he's like, "Let's do this." I would joust that horse. I'd trick ride that horse. I would take that horse filming. Yeah, I honestly, I see him and I see in sort of show terms and sort of filming terms, he's $1 million horse because he just seems to be great. And he's solid, and he's giving Sandy. I mentioned it as well today, I was like, you remember what it was like when they had Tara, who's a lovely fast horse,
Yeah.
but all over the place in terms of throttle and brakes and
boarded
steering, and it was just like,
Yeah,
got
boarded
Tourette's or
behind that. It's unpredictable.
Yeah.
That's the word, because you couldn't go round a corner and not know where the patter would come on, and that wasn't really an issue for a net or anything. It was just as a boarder, you sat there going, don't know where the next throttle or power is. Something I love about boarding behind TNT is it's just flat. It's as fast, it's as fast as we can go, because she gets annoyed any time you ask her to slow down. So you're like, this is what I'm dealing with. Or you've got other horses that like teams that you slow down into corners, and you're like, okay, we're slowing down. We're going to take this corner a bit steady. But you'd come in with Tara, you'd slow down. She would get round the corner and as much as the rider wanted to keep her back, the horse is like, I haven't ran a corner. Boom. And
Yeah.
you're like mid-pendulum of going, this is the wrong place. This is the wrong place that anyone should ever accelerate. And you get the acceleration. Then you hit another corner and you go, right, I'm going to get accelerated here. You're on the wrong line.
Tara, when Tara, I mean, they did some amazing things as a team. Just Wing It with Tara. You know, they did some brilliant races, some brilliant turns.
She was fun to race against.
Yeah, you know,
the racing against that.
JCB, where they took that
they
heat.
won the heat.
Yeah,
Yeah, won the
like-
heats. They did some great things, but if you take all of that away, you just took a sample size. You look at that and you think, yeah. For me, what it looked like is that Tara was always trying to get out from under Annette. Like she was just constantly trying to get out from under the saddle and get out from under the bridle, and Annette was like, Jesus, you know, really working hard to give this consistency. Now, then we come to one for Harry, and he is super consistent, super solid.
Yeah.
So he did well. He fought a bit in the heats today,
Trying
the
to get
early
very
races.
steady, very steady. And I think that part of the next worry is like letting him go. But like, we know this. Like some of the horses we've ridden for jousting and stuff. Sometimes the best way to get rid of a horse there is trying to fight you because it wants to go to let it go a little. And like, which is the complete opposite. But you have to let them go to bring them back. But you don't have to let them go fully. And yeah, he was fine at the.
I mean, but if she
final
feels
round.
he's getting strong, if she feels that he's getting strong, it just doesn't look like it. It looks like he's.
Copes with it, rides it really well. She makes it
Yeah,
look easy
it
to
does,
control
yeah.
it.
It looks like it's really interesting. It'd be nice to see them race. I mean, when they went, okay, so I'm going to jump into Prague quickly, but when they went into Prague, and you know, they did that first event, everybody else kind of was like, you know, Charlie, you, spare parts, everybody was on that first night was a little bit like, okay, just get around,
Yeah.
just do the racing,
Oh, they
don't
nailed it.
don't do anything crazy. And that was like, let's go. Let's throw this horse into these corners. And she just, and that's how she ended up winning her first time on the international stage, winning the night. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it'd be good to have a chat with Annette about it, because I have so much faith in that pony.
The
What
balls
happened-
that she's got for riding her, riding Harry and riding Tara, it does when it works damn well, and it's scary.
But what happened this
It's a good
afternoon
skill.
is they went out like their final run, so that they built over the day, and I think that's partly to do with Annette's confidence, maybe like looking after it because she wants to make sure she can get around.
Well, she wants to make
And
sure
and this is
what's happening.
one of these to
The
me.
Sandy's all right.
Yeah, and it's a career-ending course.
Yeah.
We've seen it, but what they did was perfect. They didn't go crazy pace. They went steady pace, but at their non-crazy pace, they still did 24 miles an hour. We did 24, 25 miles an hour. Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong.
and then they hit 29 miles an hour.
Yes, 27.
They matched the course.
27
Yeah.
and then 29, yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that was their crazy speed, and she fought it.
And I
It
was
like-
scared. Like, I've got to be honest, I was scared. I was watching him go around and I was thinking, I think the issue with the fall has maybe knocked Annette's confidence a little bit. I don't think it's affected the horse. The horse is like,
Yeah,
he's
give us
cool.
some
And the thing is, so every time I interact with that horse, I'm like, this horse is cool. Oh, thank you very much.
That what? Who bought that one? Oh, yeah, makes sense.
So I mean, I went
You
to
have the
see. So
script
in the
chorus.
build up to Prague, I was very concerned, as a lot of people know, very concerned with this cut because he did make quite a bad mess of himself. As he fell in Sandringham last year, he landed on his foot, and the stud went across his chest as he crashed, as he fell, and that made it basically cut.
Like in between his front legs, he's got like a little.
Yeah, the little. His chest, his skin was hanging down. It wasn't a nice, pretty big bit.
The vet turned up and went, "Is this horse already been sedated?"
Yeah, exactly. The vet thought it had been sedated because he stood there going like, "Yeah, stitch me up, bitch." Like, do you know what I mean? Like, he's a bruiser. I would ride that thing into battle. Like, tell me when the next film's going on, I'll take him. Like, he is a battle. What they call the old battered brigade. Which is a famous horse poem. Look it up. But that's who he is. But then you come. So I don't know if it's affected Annette's confidence more than it maybe has the horses, because again they got the fastest speed today at 29 miles an hour. We haven't seen that since 2019, or it wasn't even 2019 because it was the year we had two. You got one.
Yeah.
With Chill Winston. Blues and UK Border Force got 17, one, and we had the most crazy crash we've ever seen. Yeah. So they're the only person to actually score a 29 mile an hour and finish the race at this arena.
But the course is wide. The course has widened. So now this course used to be at the not the pit end, the VIP end, the pits end. Was like 45 meters, and then at the top end where you entered the arena was about 47 meters.
Yeah,
and then it was like 80 meters long. This course now is 60 meters at one end, which is the grandstand end. It's 54.7 meters at the other end because there's obviously that dip in the arena.
Yeah.
But it's 108 meters long.
That's
inside cone, which is what makes that turn onto the diagonals so nice.
Lovely. It looks lovely. So, how long have we been going, guys? Anyone got a timer?
This is dead.
That's all right.
5 minutes.
Hour and 5 minutes. How are we feeling? You think we've done enough for tonight?
I think we can wrap up.
Yeah,
wrap up. That's still recording, so we wrap up. But so, how do we wrap up, John? You tell me.
I don't know. It's been a good day. We've got everybody else is coming into the lorry now for warm drinks.
Yeah.
Guys, if you have not been to horseboarding and you're listening to this, you need to come to horseboarding.
You need to come.
Yeah.
If you ride a board.
Yeah, if you've got any board experience at all,
same horse. It's like an equine, and just crack on. It's amazing.
Yeah, come and get involved. It's a great laugh. This is what we do.
Right, we're gonna end that podcast right there. It's mid-conversation, but tune in next time, and you'll get more conversation that may end on the same cliffhanger. Great time, right?
I'm still getting the last word in.
All
Goodbye. This is the end right now. I'm going to edit it so this is the end, so Tom doesn't always get the last word in.
I bet.